trading. All right, the situation in Venezuela quickly becoming unhinged after a narrow defeat in Sunday's presidential election. Supporters of opposition candidate Enrique Capriles are taking to the streets in protest. Venezuela reporting that 7 people have died already in the protests. And some speculate that we could be staring down the barrel of a full-blown coup. With the vast implications on oil, is this something that the U.S. should be spending money on? Here to break it all down is Risa Grace-Targo, analyst at the Eurasia Group. We also have Vanessa Neumann here, a senior fellow at the Foreign Policy Research Institute and a spokesperson for Free Venezuela. Thanks to both of you for coming on. Vanessa, what do you make of the events that you're seeing down there? Is this a surprise?
No, I'm actually in a way pleased to see that the Venezuelans are actually standing up for their rights. It is a surprise by how close the election was. I think even the Chavistas were surprised that they claimed that it was only a 1.5% victory for the Chavistas over the opposition. It's an indication to those people who feel that the election was stolen that they couldn't steal it more somehow. So It was closer run than they realized.
Risa, what do you make of what is going on down there right now? I mean, what does it indicate to you about where the people's real feelings are and what might happen?
Yeah, I think this election was much closer than we and most observers were expecting. And I think, it's going to be difficult for the opposition to really, overturn Maduro's victory at this point. He looks likely to be able to remain as the president. But I think he enters his term in a really weak position with questionable legitimacy.
Vanessa, do you agree with that? I mean,
No.
You think he can hang on? No.
No, I'm not sure I really do agree with that. There's a increasing anger about it. There's increasing movement into the streets. There's now rumors circulating today through Caracas that the woman in charge of the voting was paid $7 million to rig the vote. Whether the rumor is true or not, the point is people are angry. And now with the murders in the streets, we're seeing a greater instability. And as the days tick by and the violence escalates, even Chavistas who supported Maduro might start moving away because they want a recount. If they want it, why not have a recount?
So, Risa, there is without question chaos in a country that has been hostile to us for a long time and holds massive oil reserves, now the most proven reserves in the world ahead of Saudi Arabia. What should we be rooting for in the U.S. selfishly as consumers?
Oh, that's a tricky question. I mean, I think, for the U.S., we can expect much more of the same under Maduro. So, relations with Chavez were often strained. I think we could, expect to have essentially a continuation of the trade relationship, but,
But is there anything to indicate that Capriles would be any friendlier, any better, or would it be worse? Because we've certainly experienced that in the Middle East, where we backed the underdog or we backed the coup, and it didn't exactly work out for us.
No, I think Capriles would absolutely be better. I think, under Capriles, he would look to unwind a lot of Chavez's policy and also, welcome back private investment into the sector. So I think, we would see an improvement. Although here, Capriles would also be constrained by the fact that Chavismo remains in control of all of the state apparatus, including state-owned PDVSA. So, that process would take time.
So, Vanessa, is that something that we should put money into here in the U.S., or is that too tricky to really accomplish anything?
Well, I think what the U.S. really should do is to back a recount, because the one thing that is bad for investors... But
why do we think a recount would be any more fair and any more accurate than the whole thing was in the first place? I mean, I don't trust any of the voting and the counting that's going on.
I think that's absolutely true, but there were no real observers. The so-called observers were people from countries that are very much on the Chavista payroll, and they're basically people sitting around in a hotel lobby drinking whiskey.
But if we get a recount, we have no idea we have all the ballots.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. But I think we do. It would show exactly what is missing. People will know how many people voted, and at least it will sort of end the violence. And I agree also that Capriles would be better for U.S. interests.
Before we go, is there anything that we could do that would be effective to try and back Capriles? Is there anything we could spend money on to try and influence the outcome of what's going on down there?
I think the U.S. has to tread cautiously here, just because you're dealing with, a government that's already blaming the U.S. government for actually giving Chavez cancer and also trying to overturn the government. So I think, it's a delicate balance. So, it's a delicate balance. And I think, so far the U.S. government saying that they support a recount is really the right approach to take.
Okay, great panel, you guys. A lot of great insight. Thanks for coming on. I hope you both come back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Melissa.